Chantel Torrio, and this is the Be Mindful podcast. Hi there, and welcome back to the Be Mindful podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about perfectionism. This is something that I have definitely struggled with for most of my life. I was very hard on myself growing up, and anytime I would accomplish anything, I didn't know how to be proud of myself. I didn't know how to celebrate my wins, whether they were big or small. And anytime I finished a project or anything that I worked on, instead of focusing on the good things, I would focus on the things that I could have done better. And perfectionism doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't do any good for us. It makes us feel stuck, and it makes us feel like we're not good enough. And we are not perfect. Like we were made perfectly as we are, but we cannot provide perfectionism to the world. So whatever we put out into the world, as long as we give our all and our best, then that's enough. And that is all we need to know. Now, if you're new here, welcome. This podcast focuses on mindset, manifestation, faith. I love talking about transformation and growth and working on letting go of limiting beliefs. So if that sparks anything for you, then this is a podcast for you. So make sure you like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Now, before we get into the episode, I do want to share something really exciting. I have came out with a new guide for you guys. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my website, and I have a few PDF guides that are completely free, but this is the first guide that I am releasing that is going to have audio trainings, and there's going to be a bonus meditation in there. So you should see a photo right here showing the guide that I created. It is a 3-day overthinking detox guide. I wanted to create this because there is so many of you who have reached out that you struggle with your mindset. You struggle with limiting beliefs coming back, and sometimes affirmations just aren't good enough. And props to you if you are trying to work on your mindset and improve your thought patterns, because I know that is something that a lot of us struggle with. It's something that I struggled with, and to really start my transformation, it was with affirmations. But I didn't understand what I needed to do to really start rewiring my mind. So I wanted to create this simple guide because, one, it's only for 3 days, and within 3 days, you'll notice a difference. There's a shift that starts to happen within your mindset. This is just a little taste of what's already on my online coaching program, but I wanted to give you some sense of direction. That way you kind of have an idea of where and how you can start. So if you are someone that is constantly overthinking, constantly worrying, then this guide is for you. If you're still not sure if this guide is for you, check out my other free guides. I have a self-love guide. I have a guide that also helps you let go of limiting beliefs. But this detox guide is specifically to help you within 3 days make those actual shifts and then allow you to continue with consistency. Sometimes doing it on your own can be really difficult when you don't have that support system. So if you want to join my online coaching program, right now the waitlist is open, and I'm going to be opening this very soon, so keep an eye out. All my links are in my description, but you can always email me if you have any questions, or you can leave a comment. All right, let's get back into the episode and focus on perfectionism. Perfectionism kills dreams. I just want to say that because it prevents so many people from really showing up, and they don't do the thing because they think it needs to be perfect. I cannot tell you how many times I have done this and self-sabotage myself. When you try to be perfect, you are constantly putting so much pressure on yourself for no reason. And it's so exhausting. It's so exhausting trying to be perfect. And I know we all want other people to like us. That's just like a normal human thing. But we have to accept that no matter what, whether you do something or not, someone's gonna like you or not like you. And it doesn't really matter what you do. People just have their reasons. So it's just easier showing up authentically as yourself instead of trying so hard to be something that you're not. Maybe you don't even realize you're doing this, Sometimes it's just an insecurity, and sometimes it's just fear, because maybe you're just fearing you're going to be judged. Or maybe you have the fear of failing. if this isn't perfect. I have spent so much time trying to perfect things, and all it did was delay the process, or I would start and I would never actually finish because I would continue to think it just wasn't good enough. From the outside, perfectionism can look productive, but it actually internally creates more anxiety. It creates more pressure. It creates procrastination, and it also creates self-criticism. I started my coaching business at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and I cannot tell you how many programs I have created. And I continued to create new programs because I kept thinking that my old one wasn't enough and that I had to keep revamping it and creating a brand new one that would just be better. And every single time I created a masterclass, I would create a brand new one. Instead of just focusing on the one that I already had and just making it better, I would create a whole new one thinking that my old ones may not be good enough to present again. Looking back, that just makes zero sense. In a way, I'm grateful that I now have a bunch of different masterclasses and a bunch of different programs that if I really want to, I can use. But it really held me back from recognizing my potential. I share this with you because if you're listening to this episode, maybe you are just like me, where you try to make everything so perfect, and when it's not, you are so hard on yourself. I've always been the type of person that's going to start something, but it can be constantly delayed because I keep thinking of things of how it can just be better and better and better. That's something that I don't really do anymore. I am able to recognize what I have created or I have worked on and be okay with the results, knowing that yes, I can improve it and I could still be proud of what I've done so far. Another thing is that perfectionism just really holds us back in general. It stops you from starting. You end up comparing yourself to other people, creating so much more insecurities within yourself that you don't need. I've said this before, but comparing yourself to other people is just always gonna be a lose-lose. There is no point in doing it. It also makes you feel like you're just never enough, like you're never good enough, and anything that you do is just not enough. That is a belief I had for such a long time in almost anything that I did. People would never expect that from me because I'm such a planner. Like, I'm honestly a type A person. I plan to the T and I'm very determined. But because I had perfectionism tendencies, things would be very much so delayed. I share these experiences with you because these are things that I have overcome and you can overcome it too. I just want to make sure that when you leave this episode, you understand that if you are trying to live through perfectionism and make everything perfect, you are spending your life never fully stepping in because you are delaying your greatness. You're waiting to feel ready or waiting for things to feel perfect when there's never a perfect moment and there's nothing that's ever perfect in general. So now that we've talked about perfectionism, let's talk about how we can overcome this. First things first, focus on progress, not perfection. I love the saying, it's better to get it done than not done at all. That's something that has really helped me because if I say that to myself in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give myself a date and I'm going to make sure this thing gets done. And even if it's not perfect, I'm still going to give it my all. So focus on that. Focus on the progress and being proud. That's the other thing along with it. You want to be proud of yourself, even with the little steps that you take. Big or small, we're going to be proud no matter what. We have to be our biggest cheerleader. That is what's key here because especially when you go through any challenges like making a mistake, for example, mistakes are part of growing. Mistakes are bound to happen. If you watched my last episode about success, the truth about it, I did share that any successful person, they had to fail first, right? So any mistakes they had, it doesn't matter. They understood what happened and they pivoted. They did whatever they needed to do to keep going. A big factor here too is understanding that your worth is not related to your performance. They're just not tied. Your best is going to look different every single day. I think I've said that so many times in other episodes, but it's really helped me and it's a fact. knowing that every day that you show up, it's not going to look the same every single time. And that's because other days you might be really tired. Maybe you had such a long night and you were tossing and turning. So you showing up the next day is going to look different than a night where you were fully rested. So those are a few mindset tips that I want you to keep in mind when it comes to perfectionism. As we both know, since you're still here listening, perfectionism doesn't do us any good, right? Like, we know nothing's going to be perfect, and that's okay. There are things in this world that we just can't control. There's only so much that we can do, and giving our best is the most that we can do. So that you can avoid trying to be perfect, these are the actionable steps that you could take. And the first one I want to share is taking steps even when you're not ready. Just do it. You're never going to feel ready, and you're only going to become the expert at whatever it is if you start. So that means you got to allow yourself to be a beginner. Something that I noticed when I was really trying to be perfect at everything, I would try to rush my progress because I just wanted to be the expert already. I wanted to be good at it from the beginning. I don't know what it was, but at such a young age, I just hated having to wait till I got better. Like, I wanted to be so good at things like instantly. So even if you suck at something in the beginning, that is okay. You can gradually get better. For example, someone can be really talented, like naturally, and there can also be someone who is actually putting in the work. And if that person outworks the talented person, this person is just going to gradually get so much better that the person that's naturally talented, if they were never putting in the effort, like actually practicing, then who do you think is going to do better? Now, instead of focusing on perfectionism, focus on consistency. So, for example, I have made a goal for me to post a podcast episode every single week, but I will not post if I'm feeling sick. I'm like not able to show up fully. I will never post because I'm trying to force something out there. Removing the grip of telling myself, okay, you have to post every single week, no matter what, on this day, no matter what, at this time, no matter what, that removes me from being perfect. It helps me to just continue showing up, even if it's not perfect. It kind of just releases the tension and helps me just stay focused on showing up every single time, knowing that it doesn't have to be this like perfect lane to do it. Just like any influencer, whether they post consistently on YouTube or TikTok, for example, there's so many interviews where people will ask them like, what is the tip or advice that you give to anyone that wants to grow on social media? They always say, post consistently. Post every single day or post every week. Something that you have to keep in mind though is that just because they were able to post in a certain rhythm doesn't mean that you can, right? Everyone's lifestyle is so different. So show up in a way that works for you where you can still be consistent. And if you think you can add in more hours, for example, if you want to be an influencer, you want to grow on social media, then at least like give yourself like a month or two to see how you do. When I was trying to show up perfectly for this podcast, like when I first started this podcast, I was really burning myself out because I wanted it to be so perfect. And there would be times where I would just feel so guilty just because I didn't post the way that I wanted to. And that was just negative energy that was being wasted when I could have just sat there and be more proud of myself that I'm even showing up. This is the grace that we need to give ourselves because if you were showing up, then that's all that matters, right? A question you can also ask yourself is, what would happen if this was already enough? What would happen if I just let it be enough? Ask yourself that question. See what comes up for you. Journal about it if you need to. I love to journal or sometimes just text it in my notes. I know some people are pen to paper. Honestly, it just depends on my mood. As I always say, get real honest with yourself. And I did mention this already, but I want to bring it up again because it should be emphasized, and it's to celebrate progress more often. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate every single time you show up. And let's say that you're trying to work on some type of project. Let's say that you're trying to become an entrepreneur, for example. Have fun with it. That's something that I really struggled with when I started this business. I wanted to help so many people, but I really struggled with the admin stuff. Like, I know how to coach, but when it came to setting up like the email stuff and also just like editing content, like I honestly hated it. And I'm like, why do I even have to do this? Like, this sucks. But instead of complaining, I could choose to look at it differently, knowing that no matter what, when I create something, it's going to help other people out there. And that's why it's been so different for me, because my approach is different. I'm trying to have fun and not be perfect. And when you choose to have fun instead of trying to be perfect and force things, you manifest things way more easily. You also fall into alignment. You just start to flow and you have this creativity and you have this joy for life. Life is just so short, and we don't need to be so serious all the time. And I think that was me most of my life, because I was so focused on wanting so much that I wasn't allowing myself to see the beauty of what I had right now. I wasn't allowing myself to just be present and be grateful for what is right in front of me. If you want to be happy and you want to enjoy life, even when there's challenges that come your way, then you got to start with your mindset. That is where it all begins. Because when you are able to navigate through your emotions and you're able to let go of beliefs that hold you back, like being perfect, you are going to find yourself having a regulated nervous system. So if you want to not only enjoy your life, but you also want to manifest things, you have to have a regulated system, because that is when you're in alignment. And God will always be by your side. So if you are struggling to recognize your worth, I want you to remember that you're a child of God. You were made to perfection. That's the difference. You were made to perfection, but it doesn't mean that what you create and put out into the world is going to be perfect in your way. It's going to come out perfect in God's way. Your life is not meant to live perfectly. Your life is meant to live fully. And sometimes the things that change your life isn't doing it perfectly. It's finally giving yourself permission to do it imperfectly. So if you are someone that's struggling with this, I hope you leave this episode giving yourself some grace and recognizing that you're already perfect as you are. You don't need to do anything else besides show up, be yourself, and just realize that you're enough no matter what. Now, I know working through your mindset isn't always the easiest thing, and sometimes you just need someone to support you. So, if you need that and you want some guidance and you don't want to do this alone, I'm your girl. My waitlist is still open for the online coaching program, so make sure you sign up. That way you are first notified and you get dibs. And that's the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was motivating, and I hope that you can just recognize that you are already perfect. And that is all for today. So don't forget to be mindful, because who you are from within will attract from the out. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.